Hello and welcome to today's Experimenters presentation. My name is Simon Barclay and today I'm going to talk to you about the silent assassins in the IT development lifecycle. Failure still occurs more often than we would like it to, and the reasons for this are often hidden, silent quality issues that nobody is consciously aware of or doing anything about. This puts the success of key IT projects at risk, often leading to them coming in significantly over budget or even failing once the system is live. The quality issues that lead to functionality defects and project failures can be people and process issues as well as the traditional software defects that we are all familiar with. So today we are going to have a look at the 6 most common project pitfalls that lead to these quality issues and how to build quality into the life cycle. When organizations approach us to help improve their project development life cycles, it is these quality issues that we find more often than any others. So what's our first silent assassin? Well, it's focusing on speed, not on quality, something we're all probably quite familiar with. Focusing on quality from the start of a project rather than the deliver mentality enables timescales to be met without surprises. The time allowed for testing in the plan is realistic, and if quality has been focused on from the start, dynamic testing should be a straightforward verification of code rather than the traditional find all defects at the late stage in the life cycle. It's common sense that it costs more to fix systems once it's live, but it's also true to say that it costs more to fix defects the later you are finding them within the life cycle. By ignoring quality from the start, who knows what you're actually going to deliver? A good example here, although not from the software testing industry, is a study conducted in the 1990s in the automotive industry. BMW commissioned some research into how effectively they were utilising their shop, or their factory floor, so to speak. An interesting observation of this study was that more space was being dedicated to fixing problems with cars that had been returned or recalled, rather than was being devoted to the manufacture of the vehicles in the first place. The management focus had been on production volumes and speed of delivery, not on the quality of the product actually being delivered. It demonstrates this point quite well, and it leads us into our second assassin as well. Our second assassin is blindness to the true cost of quality. People rush to get systems live. They focus on speed, not quality, as we've just seen. What they often forget or overlook is the cost of supporting and maintaining these systems once they are out of the project lifecycle and in live use. Calls to help desks, production outages, fixes required. All of these things cost a lot more to address than they would have been if they had been trapped early. Organisations often realise far too late that they are spending too large a proportion of their annual IT budgets supporting rather than developing. Our third silent assassin is going by feel, not facts. We've all been on a project where someone says, I think we are on plan or on target, on budget. I think quality is where it needs to be. Poor measurement of IT projects is still very common. This is the assassin that allows the other silent assassins to go by unnoticed. A project may seem to be going smoothly, it may even have a plan that milestones are being achieved on. However, only with a proper framework of monitoring, analysing quality and reporting status and progress can the client or the business actually have confidence in the delivery. We've worked with a number of systems integrators that had no metrics at all. A customer audit would probably have led to a loss of business for them, and the system integrator had no way of demonstrating that they were monitoring project quality and project progress. Our fourth silent assassin is kicking off a project before the business is ready. Again, something you are all probably familiar with. There's a growing culture within IT of never standing still. Just start doing something before the business have actually clarified what it is that they require. This is actually becoming more prevalent in the project world. Agile and iterative working methodologies are often used as an excuse or a screen to allow this to happen. A good example here is a client that we worked with recently, a telecoms operator, who had to more or less rewrite 75% of their code during acceptance testing. They simply started too early, They didn't have all of the requirements all designed before they started coding, and thought that their developers had the skills to assume what the business wanted in certain areas. Rewriting code in acceptance testing is never good for maintaining delivery timescales, project cost, or quality standards, and it usually leads to project failure. The fifth silent assassin is a lack of buy-in from business users. This is something that is often forgotten on projects. The communication out to users about new systems or changes to their existing systems, allowing them to understand this change and manage it into their organisation. If this isn't done correctly, it leads to poor adoption and poor performance of the system. Insufficient preparation leads to things like a lack of training or time to adjust to a process, resulting in a lack of buy-in, bad-mouthing of the processes and systems, and poor adoption of them. Interestingly, this assassin can be turned around to work in our favour. Good communications and engagement with the end user on any project facilitates the introduction of that project's change. Where a new system is not perhaps fully functional and the quality standard that was expected, it can still be well adopted, and it can perform well if these limitations are understood and communicated with good workarounds. Our final silent assassin is faulty design. Software defects compound as they go. If a piece of code is 10% wrong in development, it can be wrong by a magnitude of 5 to 6 times later in the life cycle in integration or acceptance testing. This obviously has a direct impact on costs, as more defects propagate as a result of this defect not being tracked earlier within the life cycle. This clearly has an additional financial cost, but there can also be an impact on reputation. So now we've identified our assassins, let's have a look at strategies for tackling or disarming these assassins, if you will. We need to think about software, development and quality processes, the people involved in these processes, not just the testers, and the tools that are used to support these people's work. Only by considering all three of these together can we build quality into the entire software development lifecycle. Let's start with process. Testing and software quality management are usually a significant part of a project's cost. 30 to 50% is not an unusual figure to be used. Improving process will result in substantial time and cost savings, as well as increasing quality. Process improvement begins with an assessment of how things are at the moment, to identify strengths, weaknesses, and improvement areas that are required. This also provides a baseline for future measurement. It's then possible to develop a process improvement plan from this analysis, with processes that are aligned to good practices. These improvements can then be piloted and rolled out in parallel to any training and mentoring that's required. Our second strategy is to do with the actual people involved. There needs to be a commitment to quality within the organisation, and on top of that, a willingness to change. This needs to be affected by all people in the organisation, not just those currently involved in testing. So we're talking business analysts, project managers, developers, engineers, architects. They all need to buy into the commitment to quality. These people need to accept change as well, in terms of former test resources being involved in different activities and earlier in the life cycle than perhaps they had been previously. Testers who had performed dynamic testing now may find themselves doing something different. They may be spending more time performing static analysis or attending requirements walkthroughs with business analysts and engineers. Training may also need to be provided to ensure that the staff have the necessary skills to adopt this process change and the tooling to support it. Finally, we need to look at tooling. Processes and people help us make testing more effective. Tooling helps us make testing more efficient. Tooling also facilitates the adoption of process and its measurement. This is one of the factors, therefore, that makes testing more efficient. Publishing a tool strategy, even starting with a tooling library of all of the tools in use in the organisation, is often a good start. Consistency, enforced by process and tool adoption, naturally increases efficiency, helping to deliver further time savings and cost. So in summary today, we've looked at a few different types of assassins. They aren't the only types out there, but they are the most common ones that our organisation has come across. As I referred to earlier, I suspect quite a few of these are familiar to you, but perhaps you actually now recognise some of these within your own organisation. The presentation today has helped show that better process and involving people in change, together with the adoption of tooling and specific measurement, can help improve your organisation's processes and software quality testing. For further information on the Silent Assassin, please contact our office and ask for a copy of the Experimentus Insight Guide, The Silent Assassin. Please also refer to our website for further information. Thank you very much for watching and listening to our presentation today. Goodbye.